We are here with a special episode of the One Successful Failure podcast. And for the last few months, I have been trying to get you to tell the stories as they are and not try to be elusive with the facts. Tonight, I think it's time that you get real with the audience and tell your side of a story that you have tried to not tell for so long. You think you're ready to do that?
You goddamn right I am. So New York Fashion Week. I just have to go there. It was 2020, February 10th. What should have been one of the best, most exciting days of my life. I'm in New York. I'm not walking across the stage this time. I got a bigger, better role. I get to MC New York Fashion Week for Dana Ono, Cancerland, and this big, big cancer fashion show to raise money for stage 4 cancer. And of all the people that they wanted to MC this show during Fashion Week, it was me. That damn true. I had earned it. I had survived cancer. I had shown the other side of cancer. I had, shown what it is to be a Black person, angry, but still optimistic. And they said, man, bring that same energy and that same fire. And your wife, we love y'all. Come to New York Fashion Week. And I said, cool, we're going to go. Me and you, me and her, we're going. See, when I would go to stuff like this, the same as when she would do big stuff, we would serve as each other's support system. I would be her photographer when it was her turn. She would be my photographer when it was my turn. So they paid for me, I paid for her. We're off to New York. But before we went to New York, what was so crazy is, man, I had been noticing these text messages from this girl named Stephanie. And one thing you didn't know, and nobody knows, because nobody knows me, nobody knows her, nobody knows our relationship. They thought they did. They saw what we showed you. And, I'm only saying it because I've said to y'all 50 million times, I'm in the midst of the biggest failure of my life. But the biggest failure of my life was also the biggest success, this relationship. And so that's why these text messages were important. They were not only coming to my wife, well, I guess she wasn't my wife at the time. They were not only coming to my woman, my heart, my partner in crime, they were coming to my best friend. That's what's important. There was constant text messages coming from somebody named Stephanie, a woman. And that's where it kind of messed my mind up. See, I thought I knew every one of my woman's friends, clients, all of that. Not because I went through her stuff or because I was controlling, but because we were always together. She knew mine, I knew hers. We was like this. There wasn't nothing that I didn't think we knew about each other. Fuck sleeping together. Fuck a 12-year, 10-year, 11-year by this time relationship. It was probably 10 years by this time. We were best friends. I know it sounds crazy because we got a 10 years age difference, but this was my best friend. We had grown to be best friends. So when I was starting to see these constant text messages from Stephanie, it kind of bothered me because I was like, man, why is this girl texting so much and why don't I know this person? See, what people don't know is my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, she didn't have any friends. And I don't mean it like she didn't have no friends, but she didn't have any friends. Her friends were my friends were her friends, and we knew everything about each other's friends. She was an instructor. She had clients. And it's not that I was insecure about clients. It was that I went to every class. She made it a point for me to be there. She made it a point for me to work out, every workout. She made it a point for me when I wasn't working out to work the front desk. I was her assistant. I was her right-hand man. I answered the phones. I swept the floor. So this Stephanie that was texting so much at probably what could be inappropriate times at night just kind of caught me off guard. But I really didn't think nothing of it because I didn't have a reason to. Like I said, we was together all the time, every night, all night, every day, all day, except for when I was at work. When I was at work. Because when I was at work, she was free to do whatever she wanted to do. Run the streets, do whatever. And we had kind of had a little issue then because she would never inform me of what she was doing. Keep in mind, people, I don't want to hear that shit. Yeah, she's a grown woman. She can do whatever she wanted to do. I could be painted out as controlling. I could be painted out as insecure. But what I can't be painted out is someone that kept secrets. She knew everything I was doing, but I wasn't allowed to know what she was doing. I was finding out by watching her Instagram. Something I didn't like doing. I had to be notified through the crowd. The same way I say, yo, what's up, everybody? That's the same way I was having to get on and find out what my girlfriend was doing and where she was when I was at work. Because when I would ask about it, it was a problem. I was insecure. I was jealous. And seeing that I was a little bit older, I believed it. But New York Fashion Week, we're getting ready to go. But before we go, we have a little tiff the night before because Stephanie texted at an inappropriate time. But I can't say my wife. But the girl who was my girlfriend at the time would hurry up and roll the messages off. And so this time I finally said, yo, who is this Stephanie and why are you rolling the messages off so fast? And she acted like she didn't hear me, like I wasn't saying shit, like, huh? Wait, what? So, all right, cool. I wasn't in the mood to argue. Arguing just wasn't my thing, but it wasn't our thing. We was tight. We would argue for 5 minutes, and although it might get heated and very crazy, 5 minutes later, she was rolling the blunt, and we was smoking and laughing. Like that argument didn't even happen. So just like that, Stephanie didn't even happen. The inappropriate text at whatever inappropriate time never happened. We went upstairs, we packed our bags, and we headed to New York Fashion Week. And it was great for me. When we got there, like it was crazy. This was one of those things that this girl was starting to become, in her mind, Instagram famous. She had a contract with a big company and they had kind of boosted her up a little bit. And, her likes had grown a little bit. Her followers had grown a little bit. And her head had grown a little bit. Well, that shit had grown a lot of bit. And the roles had kind of reversed. See, when she met me, I was the man. I had everything that she wanted. And I lived a life of freedom and just whatever. And she admired that. She loved that. But then I got cancer. I lost my breasts. I lost my hair. I lost myself. I lost control of my life. And I gave it over to somebody that I trusted, that I thought I could trust. Someone that made me believe that I could trust them. I guess that was failure number one, because I knew in my life there had never been anybody that I could trust. Not my mama, not my daddy, not my best friends. Nobody was there when I needed them. Everybody had a motive, and I couldn't trust what was said or done around me. The only people that I knew that I could ever trust was me. I was them people. I was my beginning and I was my end. But she came along and made me believe that I could trust her wholeheartedly with everything that I had, including my heart. And I did. So we got to New York Fashion Week, and it got crazy because it was about me. She knew it was about me. She signed on to be my photographer that weekend. We had this little thing when she would show up to events as my photographer. She really got a kick out of it. She would wear a white tee, and she would wear a hat backwards, and she would wear jeans, and I would get her a little press pass. Man, she got off to that. Like, it was her chance to be the little newspaper boy. That's the little thing we would make a joke about. That's my paper boy. That's my photographer. And I always had this saying that I got from a good friend, Mr. Warren Sapp, when we used to hang out. We used to always say, if you don't like we, you don't like me. And that was my slogan with my girl at the time. If she can't come, I'm not coming. If you can't find something for her, then you won't find anything from me or for me, because I'm not showing up. So she got a press pass to be backstage, all access for anything and everything that was going on for New York Fashion Week. So I thought we were straight, but it wasn't straight for her. She didn't want to be the photographer this time. So I thought, and you'll understand why I'm saying that in a minute. She wanted to be the limelight. She wanted to be the spotlight. She wanted to be the one that everything was shining on, but I didn't know that. She was supporting me and telling me, I'm here for you. But I noticed during the first interview, when I was interviewing with this chick, I had never taken my shirt off in public. I was kind of embarrassed about my scars. I was kind of embarrassed about losing my breast. Although I was lying to the people and saying that I wasn't. I was confident. I was motherfucking tripped. I had never taken my shirt off and did an interview, but there was something about this black chick. Probably because I hadn't been around any other confident, cocky, arrogant, headstrong, but still gentle, advocate type black chicks. This chick was new on the scene. And so me and her was doing an interview together, and the chick challenged me to take my shirt off in the interview, and I did. And there was cameras and phones and lights and shit all around us. But the only thing that wasn't around us was my motherfucking girlfriend. Where was she at? What is going on? Man, she's supposed to be taking pictures. She's supposed to be the photographer. Not only was I saying that, she was saying that. She was saying that to somebody else. She was saying that to Stephanie. But I didn't know. See, she had told Stephanie that she was headed to New York because she was a big time breast cancer photographer, and that the breast cancer world would fly her all over to take pictures. I didn't know she was saying this. I didn't know motherfucking Stephanie. But this is why Stephanie was texting at inappropriate times of the night. And this is why I was so confused. Where is she at? She's supposed to be taking these pictures, but she was off in the corner texting or whatever. And then she just made this big old fight in the middle of New York Fashion Week and kind of stormed off. And I was like, damn, what the fuck was that all about? But I wasn't tripping. See, my woman was a little bit of a baby sometimes, and I loved that about her. Like, you know, I didn't realize it was toxic. I thought it was cute. Like, she would throw these little fits, and I would run behind, and I'd baby her, and I'd be like, man, stop tripping. We would argue, and then Tremaine and her wife was there, and they saw it, and they was like, yo, Triplet, is everything going on? Is everything cool? And I was like, yeah, man, you know how she is. So after that little fight during New York Fashion Week, the first interview, we went, we had wine, we kicked it, we did the rest of the meet and greets, and she had kind of got herself together. But I noticed she wasn't really taking any pictures. She wasn't serving as a photographer. She was serving herself. Every time I looked around, she was on the phone, texting something, doing something, whatever. Cool. I'm not jealous or whatever, because what could you possibly be doing? And we in New York, I really didn't give a fuck. This weekend was about me, finally. It was finally again back about me. It hadn't been about me in a long, long time. It had gotten to be about her. Even when cancer came, I made one of the biggest failures of my life. I was on the cover of Forbes magazine, and instead of being positive about myself, I included this girlfriend. See, I had included her in everything. There was nothing that I had that she couldn't have. There was nothing supposedly that she had that I couldn't have, besides the fucking phone. Like, she was in that phone. She was in that Instagram. And anytime I asked again, I'm insecure. So I didn't want to make any fights during New York Fashion Week, so I didn't ask anymore. I just went on and did me. I did my interviews. We kicked it. I was meeting people, greeting people, kissing hands and shaking babies. You know how this shit goes when you're trying to raise money for a cause, when you're trying to be that persona that people flew you in town to be. I wasn't there to be Nikki. I wasn't there to be her girlfriend. I wasn't there to be somebody with feelings. I was there to be that damn trip. That's who they wanted. The cancerpreneur. I was there to be an advocate. I was there to be an MC of one of the biggest shows of the 2020 New York Fashion Week. And that's what I was doing. So it came to the show day, and I'm hyped. I'm geeked. And I thought I had my assistant, my photographer. She had her clothes on, her hat, backwards pressed pass, running around, pencil behind her ear. She was geeked. She was, doing her thing. And I saw her running around taking pictures of everything but me. But I was like, all right, the show hadn't started yet or whatever. It's not a big deal. It wasn't a big deal till I got this crazy little weird little throw it off text. And I started looking around like, who sees me? Who's here that knows me? Who's texting me about the bitch that I'm with? And I'm not calling her a bitch. The text had something to say about the bitch that I was with. But I blew it off because I was like, I don't even know this number. I don't even know what they talking about. And right now it's about me. But the thing was, the text came like 2 minutes before I had to go on stage and do my 15-minute monologue to open up this show to raise this money for breast cancer and stage 4 survivors. Needless to say, when that text came, I looked at her, she looked at me. She had them big eyes like she always had, like, I don't know what's going on. And I fumbled the fucking ball. Like, my 15-minute monologue was about 7 minutes. I stumbled, I fumbled. The crowd didn't know, but I was shook. My mind was messed up. I didn't know what was going on. I'm trying to figure out where this number is, and I'm still thinking about a few nights before, who the fuck is Stephanie? I don't even know why Stephanie was in my mind. She was only in my mind because I didn't know who she was. But why am I bringing that outside stuff to New York Fashion Week? I have no idea. But I had this feeling in my gut. I had this feeling in my stomach. The same feeling that when I expressed it to my friend, my best friend, my woman, she would tell me I was wrong or I was right. And when I was expressing this feeling, she was telling me I was so wrong. And I'm insecure. And I'm worried about the wrong thing. I need to focus on me and not focus on that and stick to what we came to New York for. So I did. It was a hell of a fucking show. Like, I emceed my ass off. Miss New York was there, took pictures with her. But Getty Images took pictures. Cancerland had hired photographers. They took pictures. Randoms along the side of the stage with their phones was tripping over themselves to take pictures of me. Everybody was taking pictures except for her. She wasn't anywhere to be found, but this is what she was there for, and she was just off doing her own thing. And this was new to me. We've been together at this time 12 years, I guess, 11 years. We met in 2009. It was 2020. So this was 11 years. This was the first time that she was just putting me off, blowing me off, didn't give a fuck, wasn't helping me celebrate, wasn't there for me to cry with something going on, didn't fix my makeup, didn't care about my clothes. This was the first time I was on my own. And I was like, all right, but I got this. And even if I didn't got this, I wasn't going to let anybody else know that I ain't got this. I got this. We finished the show. It was amazing. We went to eat and do our thing, and Tremaine had to go, her and her wife. I begged them to go to the after party with us. But it wasn't the after party for everybody. It was a secret, small little after party for special guests of the show, like the people that walked the show, and me, the MC, and the creator, and the people from Cancerland. It was a after party like to honor us. We were going to party, but it was also to honor us. We finally made it to the after party, and it was cool. People was taking pictures. They wanted to take pictures with me. And I really hadn't had this feeling before. I felt like a celebrity. And my girl wanted to jump in every picture. She wanted to make sure that she was there. She didn't want to take any, but she wanted to be in them. But that's the kind of relationship we had. I was always in hers. She was always in mine. But I didn't make it a point to be in them. She always invited me and said, come get in these. And so I did the same with her. I was like, all right, baby, come get in these pictures. And she got in them, but she wasn't smiling. She wasn't doing she was getting in them and felt like me to ruin them. But I didn't understand why she would be doing that. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I am insecure, like she's been saying. I mean, when the person you've been with for 11 years is telling you this and putting it in your ear that you're jealous, that you're insecure, that you're controlling, that you're nothing without them, after a minute, if you don't hear anything else, you start to believe it. So in New York, on that night, what was supposed to be one of the best nights of my life, I was dying on the inside, and people didn't understand it because I didn't know why my girl was acting like this. But like I always do, before I had these new teeth, I was just hiding my hurt with a smile. We was just going through it. And there was a group of people up there that was just embracing me and her, and they was like, yo, y'all ready for the after party? And I was like, word? They was like, yeah, don't tell too many people. It's going to be a few of us. We going to do what you like to do. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be plenty of weed. And let me say this. People knew that I smoked weed, and I bragged about my cancer treatment smoking weed the entire time. I didn't take drugs. All the pain pills I could have had, I didn't get them. I bragged about I'm a weed smoker. So they was like, yo, we know you don't drink. We know you don't do this stuff, but your girl drink. We're having a private after party at this penthouse suite. Hey, man, y'all should come through. Oh, and we gonna do mushrooms. And I was like, fuck, this sound like what I need. So we go to the after party, and it's cool. And as soon as we walk in the door, it was like a frat party, like you had to know the secret knock or something. But there was no secret knock. The only secret knock was when you walk in, you hold out your hand, and and they put a handful of mushrooms in my hand and in her hand. And I'll be honest, I was scared. I had never done mushrooms before, but I didn't want nobody to know it. See, I'm a G. I'm one of them people that gotta pretend sometimes that if anybody gonna do a trip, gonna do it. And if anybody had done a trip, and done it. And my girl was one of them people, in her mind, she done everything and hadn't done shit. But she got her handful and she just popped them. And I wasn't gonna be no punk. When she popped them, I popped them. And we just was kicking it. And we was with a big group of, I have to say it not in a racist way, but I'm gonna set the mood for you. We was with this weird group of white people, like from Virginia and New York and Ohio, and just a mixture, a blend of white people. I blend in with white people. And I say that because when we got there, one of the main people was singing folk music. She was a folk music singer. And so the mood was right, but the atmosphere was kind of low because everybody on mushrooms, but this chick is singing folk music. So they know, everybody knows my woman knows that she was a lover of music. And so they immediately wanted to cater to us. And once we popped our mushrooms, they said, yo, if you don't mind talking to my girl, we want you to DJ. See, she bragged about being a DJ. Her music recollection was like impeccable. She knew everything. I mean, some of it was from her past career, I'll say. In her past job, some of any type of music would be playing there. So me and her my aunt was like a black-white chick. I pride myself on knowing all the 80s music and the Breakfast Club and everything like that because my aunt made sure that I listened to everything. My big mother listened to country. There wasn't any type of music we don't know. So they told my girl, man, we would love for you to DJ this party and liven it up. And she connected her phone to their Bluetooth and she started DJing. And we was kicking it. Me and her went outside. We took pictures in New York. It was freezing that night, but the shrooms were starting to kick in and we wasn't feeling no pain from that wind. We wasn't arguing. We wasn't anything. It was finally starting to get to what we normally felt like, I thought. And then something happened real weird. Maybe it was one drink too many. Maybe it was a long day. Maybe it was a long flight. Maybe it was a long weekend. Maybe she couldn't control her shrooms. And the best thing that my girl could figure to do was lay down on these people's couch and go to sleep. And she just was knocked out. And so it was getting late and her phone was playing this music and we was all sitting there kicking it. And truthfully, I was really tired and ready to go. I had a flight to catch at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. We both did. She over there sleeping peacefully and we still had to walk back to the hotel in New York. And it was probably, 10 blocks freezing cold. So I was trying to find a way to get up out of that penthouse suite. The party had died down, but these people were on shrooms. Everybody was on shrooms. So they were still starting to talk and kicking and just chilling. But I also noticed that in this group of white people and in my wife's phone, the music had I'm sorry, she wasn't my wife then. In my girl's phone, the music had kind of changed. And it kind of switched to some music that I didn't feel comfortable being played while we was there in that group. I told you it was a group of white people, not that it was a problem, but what was coming across her phone was a whole bunch of nigga this, nigga that. And I was like, ooh, shit. I mean, she was very young. She listened to everything. So the trap had started to come in. The Cardis and the Megans and the Little Babies and the this and the Waynes and the nigga. So I was like, oh, man. And at the same time that I was thinking it, they was thinking, they was like, yo, Trip, you mind changing the music? And I was like, no, not at all. We're in New York. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. And see, we live in Houston. And Houston would have been 3 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, man, I got you. And I grabbed my girl's phone. It's not something that I normally would do. I didn't give a shit about her phone. I didn't care. I had my own phone that I didn't really care about. I'm not a phone person. Anybody I needed to talk to, which was normally my girl, was right there with me. So I grabbed her phone, put her code in because I knew it. I knew hers, she knew mine. And I put the code in. And as I'm getting ready to change the music, motherfucking Stephanie text at an obscene time in the morning. And I'm thinking, if it's 4:30 in New York, then it's 3:30 in Houston. What the fuck would one of her clients be texting her for at 3:30 in the morning? Everybody knew she wasn't on the schedule. Everybody knew she was out of town. I told you she's all over social media. So she had made it known that she was in New York. I told you she was taking pictures for everybody but me. And what I meant by everybody was herself. She was taking all these pictures of herself in New York, posting where she was, letting everybody know. That was her thing. That was her way of being, Instagram famous. She was always somewhere traveling. I was always with her. She was always with me. So I'm looking 3:30 in the morning, and Stephanie's texting. And right now, I can't remember what the text said. I was on them shrooms. I had smoked a lot of weed, and I was sleepy. All I know is it's 3:30 in the morning. Should nobody be texting my woman? I don't really care who it is or what it's about. It didn't say her brother. It didn't say her mother. It didn't say anything like that. Nobody was dead. So what you texting at 3:30 for? So I did something that I would normally ever do. I felt bad about it, but I don't regret it because it was the beginning of the end. I clicked on Stephanie. And why did I ever do that?